The kitchen light flickers when I turn it on at 5:30 a.m., casting that familiar dull yellow glow across the granite countertops. Too cold to feel warm, too dim to feel alive. Outside the window, the world is still dark, that deep indigo blue that comes just before sunrise. I can hear the coffee maker gurgling to life, the only sound in this sleeping house besides my own careful footsteps. I've learned to move quietly here, to take up less space. My name is Mildred Nelson. I'm 67 years old, and this is my son's house, not my home. There's a difference, though it took me 3 years to understand it. I open the refrigerator, its bright light making me squint. Everything is organized with military precision. Faith's doing. Organic milk on the top shelf, labeled with her name in neat black marker. Almond milk for Sarah, Faith's sister. Regular milk, the generic brand I bought for myself, pushed to the back. I've learned not to touch anything that isn't mine, even though I'm the one who does most of the grocery shopping. The envelope is still there, magnetized to the refrigerator door. White, plain, with one word written across it in Alan's handwriting. Mom. Inside, I already know what it says. I put it there myself yesterday, following the format Faith established 6 months ago. A neat itemized list: utilities, groceries, household supplies. At the bottom, the total, $1,114.68. I rounded up to $1,020. Always. I don't want to give them any reason to say I'm not pulling my weight. $1,200 a month. That's what it costs to live with my own son. I remember the day he first mentioned it. We were standing right here, in this kitchen. It was March, unseasonably warm. The windows were open and I could smell the neighbor's jasmine blooming. Alan had seemed nervous, drumming his fingers on the counter. Mom, I've been thinking, he'd said, not quite meeting my eyes. You've been here almost 6 months now. Faith and we've been talking. It's only fair that you contribute to the household expenses. Fair. That word has haunted me ever since. I didn't argue. What could I say? That I'd already given him $150,000 for the down payment on this house? That the remaining $30,000 of his father's life insurance paid for his wedding to Faith? That I'd sold the only home I'd ever owned to pay for the hospital bills when Thomas was dying, leaving me with just enough to bury him and $50,000 to my name? I didn't say any of those things. I just nodded and asked how much. Now, 3 years after moving in, and 6 months after the rent started, my savings account has dwindled to $8,400. At this rate, I have 7 months left before I'm completely broke. The coffee finishes brewing. I pour myself a cup, using the chipped mug Alan made in 2nd grade, uneven, lopsided, with Mom painted in crooked blue letters. It's one of the few things I brought with me from the old house. I hold it with both hands, feeling its warmth, and watch through the window as the sky begins to lighten. I used to love mornings. When Thomas was alive and Alan was young, our little house would come alive with breakfast sounds. Bacon sizzling, Alan's laughter, Thomas reading the newspaper aloud. Those mornings felt full. These mornings feel empty, even in a house with 7 people. Footsteps on the stairs. I check the clock. 6:45 a.m. Too early for Alan or Faith. Must be the twins. Grandma! Emma appears first, her blonde hair a tangled mess, dragging her stuffed rabbit. Ethan follows, rubbing his eyes. Good morning, sweethearts. I open my arms and they crash into me, all warm sleep smell and sticky fingers. This is why I stay. These 2 6-year-olds who still think I hung the moon. Can you make pancakes? Ethan asks, hopeful. Not today, buddy. Your mom has you on that new breakfast schedule, remember? Overnight oats. Emma makes a face. Those are gross. I know, baby, but that's what Mom wants. Faith appears in the doorway, already dressed in her workout clothes, matching lavender leggings and sports bra, her dark hair in a perfect ponytail. Even at 7 a.m., she looks like she belongs in a fitness magazine. Kids, what did we say about bothering Grandma so early? Her voice is pleasant but firm, the tone she uses when guests are around. They're not bothering me, I say quickly. Faith doesn't acknowledge this. Come on, you two, let's get your breakfast. Mildred, I'm taking the kids to that new playgroup today, so we'll be gone until about 3. Sarah should be up soon. She pauses, glancing at the envelope on the refrigerator. Oh, and Alan wanted to talk to you about this month's contribution. Something about the water bill being higher. She says it casually, the way you'd mention the weather, but I feel it like a slap. Before I can respond, she's ushering the twins toward the pantry, pulling out the containers of pre-made oats. Emma looks back at me with sad eyes, and I give her a small smile. I retreat to my room, the smallest bedroom, the one that used to be Alan's home office before I moved in. My bed is neatly made, the same faded blue quilt my mother gave me when I married Thomas. The walls are bare except for a calendar I stopped updating 2 months ago. A small window overlooks the backyard, where I can see Faith's vegetable garden that I maintain, though she's the one who posts pictures of it on Instagram. This room smells like lavender oil and old books. It's the only space in this house that feels like mine. At 10 a.m., I hear Sarah's bedroom door open. Faith's younger sister has been staying here for 3 weeks now, recovering from her divorce. She gets the guest room, the big one with the ensuite bathroom and the king bed. She doesn't pay rent. I'm folding laundry in the utility room when she breezes past, heading for the kitchen in her silk robe, her auburn hair perfectly tousled. "Morning, Mildred," she says with a yawn. "Is there coffee?" "Fresh pot," I say. "I made it about 20 minutes ago." She pours herself a cup, using one of the nice mugs, the ceramic ones Faith bought from that expensive boutique downtown. I've never used those mugs. Somehow, without anyone saying it, I understand they're not for me. Sarah leans against the counter, scrolling through her phone. "Faith texted. She's picking up groceries on the way home. She said to tell you she's getting the good organic stuff for my stomach issues." She glances up. "You know how sensitive my digestion is." I nod, continuing to fold Alan's work shirts. Last week I bought the regular milk instead of organic, and Faith had left it sitting on the counter with a sticky note. "Please check with me before grocery shopping. We're trying to eat cleaner." The irony wasn't lost on me. I'm a retired elementary school teacher. I taught nutrition to second graders for 30 years. But in this house, I don't know what clean eating means. "It must be nice," Sarah says, still scrolling. "Living here with family, not having to worry about anything." I look up sharply, but her face is innocent. She doesn't know about the rent. Faith hasn't told her. "It has its moments," I say carefully. She wanders toward the living room, leaving her coffee cup on the counter. I'll wash it later, along with everything else. That afternoon, while Sarah is doing yoga in the living room, her mat spread across the entire floor, soft meditation music playing from her phone, I retreat to my room and pull out the cardboard box from under my bed. My memory box. I haven't opened it in months. Inside, photographs in no particular order. Ticket stubs from movies I took Alan to see, his report cards, a Mother's Day card he made me in 3rd grade with macaroni glued to construction paper. And at the bottom, 2 documents I can barely stand to look at. The first is a letter, written in Alan's 10-year-old handwriting on lined paper. "Dear Mom, thank you for working so hard. I know you work 2 jobs so I can have a good life. When I grow up, I'm going to buy you a big house, and you'll never have to work again. You'll just relax and I'll take care of you. Love, Alan. P.S. You're the best mom in the world." I trace the words with my finger, remembering that Mother's Day. I'd been working as a teacher during the day and cleaning offices at night, coming home after he was asleep, leaving before he woke up. I'd missed his spring concert, and he'd made me this card to tell me it was okay. The second document is the contract for the sale of my house, the little 3-bedroom bungalow where I raised Alan alone after his father left when he was 2. The house where Thomas and I later built a life together, where we painted the kitchen yellow because it made me smile. Sale price, $285,000. Amount remaining after paying off the mortgage and Thomas's medical bills, $50,000. That was 3 years ago. I'm down to $8,400 now. I sold that house, my home, my sanctuary, my history, because Thomas's cancer treatment wasn't fully covered by insurance. We'd burned through our savings in 6 months. The house was all we had left. Alan had been so kind when Thomas died. "Come stay with us, Mom. He'd said at the funeral, "You shouldn't be alone right now, just until you figure out what's next." Just until. 3 years later, I'm still here, still figuring out what's next, except now I'm paying for the privilege. I close the box and slide it back under the bed. My knees crack as I stand. "Arthritis," the doctor says. "Getting old," I say. Same difference. Friday evening, Alan comes home from work carrying his laptop bag and wearing that distracted expression that means he's still thinking about code. He's a software engineer, successful, makes good money. The kind of son any mother would be proud of. He finds me in the kitchen, preparing dinner. Chicken stir-fry, his favorite. "Hey, Mom," he sets his bag down. "Smells good." "It'll be ready in about 15 minutes. "Great." He pours himself water from the filtered pitcher, another thing Faith insists on. "So listen, I wanted to talk to you about this month." My stomach tightens. "Okay." He pulls the envelope off the refrigerator, the one I put there yesterday. "The water bill was pretty high this month. We think maybe someone's taking longer showers?" He says it like a question, but we both know what he means. "I'll be quicker," I say quietly. "And, Faith mentioned the grocery bill was up too. Maybe we could be more mindful about what we're buying. Stick to the essentials." I want to remind him that I buy the cheapest versions of everything already, that I haven't bought myself new clothes in a year, that I skip lunch most days to save money. But I don't. "Of course," I say instead. He shifts uncomfortably. "It's not that we're trying to be difficult, it's fine, Alan." Faith enters the kitchen and his posture changes subtly. He stands a little straighter. "Is she giving you the check?" Faith asks him, as if I'm not standing right here. "I was just about to," I say, moving toward my room. "Great." Faith opens the refrigerator, examining its contents. "Oh, and Mildred? Sarah's going to be staying a bit longer. Maybe another month or two. I hope that's okay." It's not a question. It's an announcement. "Of course," I say again, that same automatic response. I go to my room and write the check. My hands shake slightly as I sign my name. 1,220 gone. Another month of safety purchased. Another month closer to having nothing left. When I return to the kitchen, Alan and Faith are standing close together, talking in low voices. They stop when they see me. I hand Alan the check. He takes it without quite meeting my eyes. "Thanks, Mom." He tucks it into his pocket. "Oh, and Faith and I are going out for dinner tonight. Date night. Could you watch the twins?" "Of course," I say for the third time. They leave at 6:30. I feed Emma and Ethan the stir-fry I made, play 2 games of Candyland, read them stories, and put them to bed. By 9 o'clock, I'm exhausted. I clean the kitchen, wipe down the counters, and notice Sarah's dishes in the sink from her lunch. I wash those, too. As I'm drying my hands, I catch sight of my reflection in the darkened window. A tired woman with gray hair and worry lines, wearing clothes from Target, in a kitchen that doesn't belong to her. I barely recognize myself anymore. Saturday morning, I need to go to the grocery store. Faith has left a list on the counter. Organic chicken, almond milk, gluten-free pasta, fresh kale. All Sarah's requests. I'm in the produce section, carefully selecting the cheapest organic options I can find, when I hear someone call my name. "Mildred? Mildred Nelson?" I turn to see Dorothy Martinez, my colleague from Riverside Elementary, where I taught for 30 years before retiring. We used to have lunch together every Friday, swapping stories about our students, our families, our lives. "Dorothy, I'm genuinely happy to see a friendly face. How are you?" "I'm wonderful. It's been too long." She pulls me into a warm hug. "How's retirement treating you? How's living with Alan?" "It's good. Different, but good." "I bet. Having family close must be wonderful." She glances at my cart. "Fancy groceries. Moving up in the world, I see." I laugh, but it sounds hollow. "Oh, these are for the house." "Well, you deserve to treat yourself. You worked hard all those years." She's about to say more when I see Faith coming down the aisle, pushing a separate cart. Faith spots us and her expression shifts. Not quite annoyance, but close. "Mildred," she says, ignoring Dorothy entirely. "Did you get the organic chicken? And make sure it's the free-range kind, not just organic. Sarah's very particular. Dorothy's eyes widen slightly. I feel my face grow hot. I was just about to grab it. Faith picks up the package of regular chicken from my cart. This won't work. Sarah can't eat this. She says it like I've made a terrible mistake, like I'm a child who can't follow simple instructions. She replaces it with the more expensive free-range option, then turns to Dorothy with a tight smile. Sorry to interrupt. Mildred, I'll meet you at checkout. We need to get home. She walks away, her designer workout clothes and perfect ponytail somehow making me feel smaller in my old jeans and sweater. Dorothy is quiet for a moment, then gently. Mildred, is everything okay? I want to tell her. I want to say that I pay rent to live there, that I'm treated like a housekeeper who's also expected to be grateful, that I've shrunk myself into nothing trying to fit into a space that was never meant for me. Instead, I smile. Everything's fine. You know how it is with family. But Dorothy's expression tells me she sees more than I'm saying. She reaches into her purse and pulls out a business card. This is my new number. Call me sometime. Let's have coffee, just us, like the old days. I take the card, and for reasons I don't fully understand, I slip it into my pocket instead of my purse. I will, I say, and I mean it. That night, I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling. The house is quiet. Through the thin walls, I can hear Alan and Faith's television, muted voices, the occasional laugh. I think about Dorothy's face when Faith corrected me about the chicken. The pity in her eyes. I think about Emma and Ethan, how they're the only ones who still look at me like I matter. I think about the $8,400 in my bank account, dwindling month by month. And I think about Alan's letter. When I grow up, I'm going to buy you a big house and you'll never have to work again. He did buy a big house, just not for me. I roll over, pulling my mother's quilt closer. In the darkness, I make a decision. Tomorrow, I'll call Dorothy. I'll have that coffee, because something has to change. I just don't know what yet. The call with Dorothy happens 3 days later. We meet at a small cafe downtown, the kind with mismatched chairs and local art on the walls. She's already there when I arrive, waving from a corner table. You look thin, she says immediately, pulling me into a hug. Are they feeding you? I laugh, but it comes out shaky. I'm fine, really. We order coffee. She insists on buying mine, and for the first hour, we talk about safe things. Her grandchildren, former students, the new principal at Riverside Elementary. But eventually the conversation shifts. Mildred, Dorothy says gently, stirring her latte. What's really going on? And please don't say everything's fine. I've known you for 20 years. So I tell her, not everything, but enough. The rent, Sarah staying free, the grocery store incident. How I feel like I'm disappearing a little more each day. Dorothy listens without interrupting, her face growing darker with each detail. $1,200 a month? She says finally. Mildred, Alan makes excellent money. Faith has that marketing job. They don't need... She stops herself. I'm sorry. He's your son. I shouldn't... No, you're right. I wrap my hands around my coffee cup. They don't need it, but I don't know how to... I don't know what to do. Dorothy leans forward. Do you remember when I told you I used to live with my daughter? In Portland, right? Yes, and it was awful. Different from your situation, but awful in its own way. I was the live-in grandmother, the free babysitter, the maid. Never asked, always expected. She pauses. I left 2 years ago. Bought a small condo near the coast. Best decision I ever made. But you had your pension, and you'll have yours in 3 years, plus Social Security. She pulls out her phone, opens a calculator app. What are you getting from Social Security now? $1,600 a month. And your pension at 70 will be what? Another $1,200? About that? So $2,800 a month. She's typing quickly. That's livable, Mildred, especially if you're not paying Alan's inflated rent. The word inflated hangs in the air between us. We both know what she's saying. I have some savings, I say quietly. Not much. Maybe enough for a few months of rent somewhere. Then start looking. Dorothy reaches across the table, gripping my hand. You deserve better than this. You know that, right? I nod, but I'm not sure I believe it. Thanksgiving arrives like a storm I can see coming but can't avoid. Faith has been planning for weeks. She hired a catering company to make it special, she said, though my turkey has been the centerpiece of every family Thanksgiving for 35 years. The house is transformed, fresh flowers in every room, expensive candles burning, the good china set out on the extended dining table. I wake up early on Thanksgiving morning, habit pulling me from bed before sunrise. In the kitchen, the caterers are already setting up, filling the space I used to command. "Excuse me, ma'am," one of them says, maneuvering around me with a tray of appetizers. "We need access to the oven." I retreat to my room. At noon, Emma and Ethan find me. They're dressed in matching outfits Faith bought specifically for today. Emma in a velvet dress, Ethan in a tiny suit. "Grandma, are you coming to dinner?" Emma asks, climbing onto my bed. "Of course, sweetheart. Mommy says it's going to be fancy, with lots of people." "I know." Ethan leans against me. "Will you sit next to me?" Before I can answer, Faith appears in the doorway. "Kids, come on. Guests are starting to arrive. Grandma needs to get ready too." She looks at me. "Mildred, we're seating everyone at 6. It's going to be a little tight, so would you mind eating a bit earlier? In here? I'll bring you a plate." The words don't register at first. "I'm sorry." We have 16 people. The table only seats 14 comfortably. And some of Alan's colleagues are coming, so we want to make a good impression. You understand? I look at Emma and Ethan, their confused faces. "Mom said you might be tired anyway," Faith continues. "From your age, you know. All the noise and everything." "I'm not tired," I say, but my voice sounds far away. "Great. So it's settled. I'll bring you a plate around 5:30. She ushers the children out. "Come on, you two. Let's let Grandma rest." The door closes. I sit on my bed, staring at the space where they just were. No seat at the table. In my son's house. On Thanksgiving. At 5:30, Alan knocks once and enters without waiting for an answer. He's carrying a paper plate, not even the good china, covered with plastic wrap. "Hey, Mom, here you go." He sets it on my dresser. I look at the plate. Chicken instead of turkey. Minimal sides. A plastic fork. "Alan," I say quietly, "there's no place for me at the table?" He shifts uncomfortably. Faith thought, with so many people, it's just easier this way. You get it, right? "No," I say. "I don't get it." He sighs. "Mom, don't make this difficult. It's just one dinner." From the dining room, I hear laughter, the sound of glasses clinking. Faith's voice, bright and hostess perfect. "Everyone, please take your seats." "Your colleagues are here?" I ask. "Yeah, a few guys from work. Why?" "What did you tell them? About me?" "I said you were resting. That you're—" He stops. "That I'm what, Alan?" "That you're at that age where big gatherings are tiring." He won't meet my eyes. "Look, I need to get back. Enjoy your dinner." He leaves. The door clicks shut. I sit on my bed, looking at the paper plate with its sad portions. Through the wall, I hear the dinner party begin. More laughter. Someone making a toast. Faith's voice. "We're so grateful for this beautiful home and everyone here to share it with us." Everyone here? I don't touch the food. I can't. Instead, I lie down, still dressed, and stare at the ceiling until the sounds of the party fade into white noise. It's past midnight when I emerge from my room. The house is dark, quiet. Everyone's asleep. The dining room is a disaster. Dirty plates stacked haphazardly, wine glasses with lipstick stains, cloth napkins crumpled on chairs. The expensive candles burned down to nubs. I should go back to bed. Leave it for Faith to deal with in the morning. But decades of habit are hard to break. I start cleaning. As I'm loading the dishwasher, I notice something in the trash can. I wouldn't have looked, except a familiar corner of paper catches my eye. I pull it out. It's a place card. The kind Faith ordered specially for tonight, with each guest's name in elegant calligraphy. This one says, Mildred. It's been thrown away. Not used, not placed, just discarded. My hands start to shake. I reach deeper into the trash and find something else. A drawing. Emma's handwriting at the top. For Grandma on Thanksgiving. It's a picture of the two of us, stick figures holding hands, hearts drawn around us. She must have made it earlier this week. They threw it away. I stand there holding these pieces of evidence that I don't matter, that I'm not part of this family anymore. I'm just something to be managed, hidden away when convenient. The iPad is on the counter, still open. Faith must have been using it earlier. I move to close it, and that's when I see the group chat notification. I shouldn't look. I know I shouldn't. I look anyway. The chat is from earlier tonight. Faith's friends, the ones who came to dinner. Melissa: amazing dinner, Faith. Your home is gorgeous. Faith: thank you. Sorry about Alan's mom lurking around earlier. So awkward. Jen: wait, she lives with you? Faith: unfortunately. Long story. But hey, at least she pays Bunty $200 a month. Melissa: she pays you? That's brilliant. Faith: Alan's idea. She's got nowhere else to go, so might as well contribute, right? Multiple laugh reactions, heart emojis, a gif of someone counting money. I set the iPad down carefully, mechanically. My hands are steady now. The shaking has stopped. Something inside me has stopped too. I walk to Alan's home office. The door is open. He always forgets to close it. His laptop is on the desk, screen dark but not closed. I touch the trackpad. It lights up. He's still logged into everything. His email, his banking, his financial spreadsheet. I shouldn't look at this either, but I'm already looking. The spreadsheet is labeled Household Budget 2024, rows and columns of numbers, income, expenses, savings goals. Line 47, Mom's contribution, $1,200 month. I click on the cell. A note appears. Property tax coverage. Consider increasing to $1,500 next year. Check with Em about taking on childcare officially. Could reduce her rent to $800 if she commits to 28 hours a week. My vision blurs. I scroll up. Their combined income, $275,000 per year. Their mortgage, $3,200 per month. They don't need my money. They've never needed my money. I keep scrolling. Find emails. One from 2 years ago, from someone named Richard Chen, financial advisor. Alan, regarding your mother moving in. Tax advantages are significant. You can claim her as a dependent if she meets income thresholds. If she pays rent, you can also declare rental income with deductions for shared spaces. Additionally, if she provides childcare, there are further benefits. I've attached some documentation. Win-win scenario. Best, Richard win-win. I sit down in Alan's office chair. The leather is expensive, butter soft. The kind of chair that costs more than I spend on groceries in a month. All of it. Every bit of these 3 years. The rent, the rules, the gradual stripping away of my dignity. It was never about need. It was never about fairness. It was about profit, about control, about reducing me to a line item in a budget. I close the laptop carefully, turn off the light, walk back to my room. I don't cry. I don't scream. I don't break anything. I just sit on my bed in the dark and I decide, this is over. The next morning I call Dorothy. I need help, I say when she answers. Can we meet today? We go back to the same cafe. This time I tell her everything. The spreadsheet, the emails, the plan to make me their official nanny. Dorothy's face goes from shock to anger to something harder. Determination. You're leaving, she says. It's not a question. I don't know how. I have $8,400. That's 7 months of rent to them, or maybe 3 months somewhere else if I can find a cheap place. But then what? I can't work full-time at my age, not with my knees. And my pension doesn't start for 3 more years. Mildred. Dorothy grabs both my hands. Listen to me. Did Alan know about the life insurance? I freeze. What? Thomas's life insurance. When he died. How much was it? $180,000. But I used it. For what? The words stick in my throat. The down payment on Alan's house and his wedding. Dorothy sits back. $180,000. He needed help. Faith's family couldn't contribute much to the wedding, and housing prices here are insane. I wanted to help him get started. And he's been charging you rent for 3 years. Dorothy's voice is flat. Mildred, at $1,200 a month in 15 years, he'll have taken back every penny you gave him. With interest. The math hits me like cold water. I gave him everything, I whisper. And he turned me into a tenant. Yes, Dorothy squeezes my hands. But you can leave. You have $8,400. Social Security gives you $1,600 a month. That's enough. For what? To start over. She pulls out her phone. My friend Patricia, I told you about her, the woman who owns the building where I live. She has a cottage she's been renting out. Small place, 1 bedroom, right near the coast. $900 a month, utilities included. Dorothy, I can't. You can, and you will. She's already typing. Patricia's a widow too, 75, sharp as a tack. She'll love you. But what about work? I need income beyond Social Security. There's a bookstore 2 blocks from the cottage. The owner's been looking for part-time help. 15 an hour, 20 hours a week. That's another $1,200 a month. I do the math. $1,600 plus $1,200, minus $900 for rent. $1,900 a month to live on. It's tight, really tight. But it's possible. I can introduce you to Patricia today, Dorothy says. The cottage is available now. You could move in next week. Next week. The words feel impossible and inevitable at the same time. What about Emma and Ethan? I ask quietly. Dorothy's face softens. You'll still be their grandmother. You'll just be a grandmother with her own home. With dignity. Dignity. I think about the paper plate, the discarded place card, the group chat laughing about my rent. Okay, I hear myself say. Let's go see the cottage. The cottage is 40 miles from Alan's house, in a small coastal town I've driven through but never stopped in. It's cream-colored with faded blue shutters, surrounded by wild rosemary and overgrown roses. Patricia O'Brien meets us at the door. She's tiny, white-haired, with eyes that miss nothing. So you're the famous Mildred, she says, looking me up and down. Dorothy's told me all about you. 30 years teaching 2nd grade. We need more people like you. The cottage is small. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a kitchen barely big enough for 2 people. But the back windows look out over the ocean, and when Patricia opens them, the smell of salt air fills the room. Last tenant was here 5 years, Patricia says. Quiet woman, read a lot, planted those roses out front. She pauses. I'm not looking for profit, dear. I'm looking for someone who'll appreciate what this place is. Peaceful. I walk through the rooms, run my hand along the kitchen counter, look out at the endless blue of the Pacific. When can I move in? I ask. Patricia smiles. Whenever you're ready. On the drive back, Dorothy says, You're really doing this. I'm really doing this. What will you tell Alan? I think about that. About what I could say, what I should say. Nothing, I decide. I'll leave a note, and my last rent check. He's going to be shocked. Good, I say, and I mean it. Over the next week, I pack in secret. A box here, a bag there. Nothing obvious. Just the essentials. Clothes, photographs, my mother's quilt, that crooked mug Alan made me in 2nd grade. I don't want much, just enough to start again. I get the job at the bookstore. The owner, Linda Harper, is warm and kind. Exactly the type of person who runs an independent bookstore in a small coastal town. You start in 2 weeks, she says after a 15-minute interview. And Mildred, welcome home. Home. I haven't had one of those in 3 years. On Friday, Alan leaves for a business trip to Los Angeles. 3 days. Faith takes the twins to a weekend play date at her sister's friend's house, then plans to spend the day at a spa. The house will be empty from 9 a.m. until at least 3 p.m. Perfect. I write 2 letters that morning, one for Alan and Faith, one for Emma and Ethan. The one for Alan is short. This is my last rent payment. I'm moving out today. For 3 years, I've paid $1,200 month sádalos $43,200 total. I gave you $180,000 for this house and your wedding. I've cleaned, cooked, and cared without thanks. I thought I was living with family. I realized I was a tenant who also worked for free. I'm not angry. I'm just done. Mom, the one for the twins is longer, messier, written through tears. I tell them I love them, that this isn't their fault, that Grandma will always be their grandma, just from a different house now. I promise to send my address soon. At 9:15, Dorothy arrives with her truck. We load my boxes, all 5 of them. That's all I have to show for 67 years. 5 cardboard boxes. At 9:47, I place the letters on the kitchen counter. Put my last check underneath. At 9:52, I take one final look at the house. At the kitchen where I've made countless meals. The living room where I've played endless games with the twins. My small room with its faded quilt. At 9:53, I walk out the front door. I don't look back. The first night in the cottage, I sleep for 12 hours straight. I don't dream. I don't wake up. I just sleep, deep and heavy, the kind of sleep your body demands after years of holding tension you didn't know you were carrying. When I wake, sunlight is streaming through the gauzy curtains Patricia left. I can hear seagulls crying outside, the distant rush of waves. For a moment, I forget where I am. Then I remember. I'm home. The cottage is quiet in a way Alan's house never was. No footsteps overhead. No television bleeding through walls. No Faith's alarm at 5:30 a.m. or the twins fighting over toys. Just the ocean and the birds and the wind moving through the rosemary bushes. I make coffee in Patricia's old percolator. The kitchen is small, barely room for one person, but it's mine. I don't have to check if someone else labeled the milk. I don't have to ask permission to use the good mugs. I sit at the tiny table by the window and watch the morning light turn the ocean from gray to gold. My phone has been buzzing since yesterday. 15 missed calls from Alan. 7 from Faith. 3 voicemails I haven't listened to yet. I take a sip of coffee and silence the phone completely. Day 2, I unpack. It doesn't take long. 5 boxes don't fill much space. My clothes go in the small closet. My mother's quilt on the bed. The photographs on the single bookshelf next to the books I brought. The crooked mug Alan made me goes in the kitchen cabinet. I stare at it for a long time before putting it away. I still love my son. That's the part that makes this hurt. In the afternoon, I walk to the bookstore. Linda Harper is there, arranging a display of local authors. "Mildred," she smiles warmly. "Getting settled?" "Yes, thank you." "Good. We're not busy now, but summer tourists will be here soon. Light crowd to start with." She hands me a name tag. "Welcome to the Book Nest." I pin it to my sweater. For the first time in 3 years, I'm not someone's mother or someone's tenant. I'm just Mildred, and that feels like enough. Day 3, my neighbor knocks on the door. He's elderly, maybe 80, with kind eyes and calloused hands. "Robert Shaw," he says, extending a hand. "I live next door. Saw you moving in. Thought I'd bring these." He holds out a plate of cookies. "My wife used to make them before she passed. I've been trying to keep up the tradition. They're not as good as hers, but they're edible." "They smell wonderful," I say, taking the plate. "Would you like to come in for coffee?" We sit at my small table, and he tells me about his wife, Margaret, who died 2 years ago. About their 53 years of marriage. About how empty the house feels now. "But you learn," he says, stirring sugar into his coffee. "You learn that being alone isn't the same as being lonely. If you do it right." "How do you do it right?" I ask. He thinks for a moment. "You fill your life with things that matter, not things that drain you." After he leaves, I sit on my porch and watch the sunset, orange and pink spreading across the water. The air smells like salt and flowers. I think about Robert's words, things that matter versus things that drain you. For 3 years, I let myself be drained, convinced myself it was love, was family, was duty. But there's a difference between sacrifice and self-erasure. I'm learning that now. On day 5, Alan shows up. I'm in the garden pulling weeds from around the roses when I hear a car in the gravel driveway. I don't turn around. I already know it's him. Mom? His voice is tight, controlled, angry. I stand slowly, my knees protest, and brush dirt from my hands. He's standing by his Tesla, wearing a suit. Must have come straight from work. Alan? What the hell is this? He gestures at the cottage, at me, at everything. You just left? Without a conversation? Without even, would you like to come inside? I ask calmly. He follows me in, his eyes scanning the small space. I see him register how little I took, how much I left behind. Coffee? I offer. I don't want coffee. I want an explanation. He's pacing now, filling my peaceful space with his agitation. Do you know what you've put us through? Faith is beside herself. The kids are asking questions I don't know how to answer. You just disappeared. I left a note. A note? That's it? 3 years and you leave a note? His voice rises. What are we supposed to do? Who's going to watch the kids? Who's going to hire someone? I say quietly. He stops pacing. What? Hire someone. A nanny, a housekeeper, whatever you need. We can't afford. He catches himself, but it's too late. You make $275,000 a year, I say. You can afford it. His face goes pale. How do you? I saw your spreadsheet, your emails, all of it. I sit down at my table, suddenly tired. Sit down, Alan. He doesn't want to, but he does. We face each other across the small table, and I see the boy he used to be, the one who wrote me letters about buying me a house someday. Why? I ask. That's all I need to know. Why did you charge me rent? It was Fair's idea. No, I hold up my hand. Don't blame your wife. You're 35 years old. You made the choice. Tell me why. He's quiet for a long time. When he speaks, his voice is smaller. I don't know. That's not good enough. I don't know. He runs his hands through his hair. You were just there. Always there. And Faith kept saying we needed help with the bills, and you had money from selling your house, and it seemed fair. Fair, I repeat. That word again. We gave you a home? I gave you a home. My voice cracks. I didn't mean to raise it, but 35 years of motherhood are rising up in me. I worked 2 jobs to keep a roof over your head. I sold my house to pay for your father's medical bills. I gave you $180,000, everything I had, so you could buy this life you're living. I didn't ask you to do that. No, you didn't, because that's what parents do. We sacrifice. We give. We do it because we love you, not because we expect repayment. I'm standing now. I don't remember standing. But you did expect repayment, didn't you? $1,200 a month. For 15 years, that would have been exactly $180,000. Did you calculate that? Was that the plan? His silence is answer enough. I wasn't your mother in that house, I continue, quieter now. I was an investment you were recouping, a tenant who also did your laundry and watched your kids and cleaned your kitchen. And when I wasn't useful enough, you planned to make me your official nanny. Mom, do you know what the worst part was? I sit back down. It wasn't the money. It wasn't even the chores. It was Thanksgiving. Being told there was no seat for me at the table. In my son's house. On Thanksgiving. My voice breaks. I cooked that holiday for you for 33 years, every single year, and you brought me a paper plate and told me to eat in my room. Tears are running down my face now. I don't wipe them away. I'm sorry. Alan's voice is rough. God, Mom, I'm so sorry. Are you? Or are you sorry you got caught? Both, he says honestly. Both. I don't know what happened. How I became this person. I do, I say. You stopped seeing me as your mother. I became furniture. Background noise. someone to manage and use and keep in her place. I take a shaky breath, and I let myself disappear because I was so afraid of being alone. You're not alone. You have us. Do I? I look at him, really look at him. Because from where I'm sitting, I had a room in your house and a monthly bill. That's not family, Alan. That's a business arrangement. He flinches. We sit in silence. Outside, a gull cries. The ocean keeps moving, indifferent to our human drama. I miss them, I say finally. Emma and Ethan, tell them Grandma loves them, that this isn't their fault. You could come back. No. The word is firm, final. I can't go back to that. I won't. Then what? You're just going to stay here? Alone? I'm not alone. I gesture around the cottage. I have a home, a job, neighbors, peace. I look at him. For the first time in 3 years, I have peace. Alan stands. He looks lost, younger than 35. What do I tell Faith? Tell her the truth, that your mother finally remembered her worth. He walks to the door, stops. The kids really do miss you. I know, and I'll see them when I'm ready. When you're ready to bring them here, to my home, as guests. I stand. But I'm not coming back to yours. Not as a tenant. Not as a servant. Maybe not ever. He nods slowly and leaves. I watch through the window as he sits in his car for 10 minutes before driving away. Then I make myself tea and sit on the porch until the sun sets. Dorothy calls that night. How are you? Alan came today. And? And I told him the truth. All of it. How do you feel? I think about that. Sad, relieved, free. I pause. All of it at once. That sounds about right, she says. Healing isn't linear, you know. I'm learning that. Over the next weeks, I settle into a rhythm. Work at the bookstore 3 days a week. Garden, walk on the beach, have coffee with Robert and his friends from the senior center. Read books I haven't had time for in years. My phone stays quiet. No calls from Alan. No texts from Faith. Just one email from Emma, dictated to Faith. Dear Grandma, I miss you. When can we visit? Love, Emma. I cry when I read it. Then I write back. Soon, sweetie, soon. 3 months after I leave, Patricia O'Brien knocks on my door. Can I come in, dear? I have something to discuss. We sit with tea and she's quiet for a long moment. I'm dying, she says finally. Cancer. 6 months, maybe 8 if I'm lucky. Patricia, hush, let me finish. She pats my hand. I don't have children. Never did. My husband and I traveled instead. Had adventures. No regrets. But it means I have no one to leave things to. She looks around the cottage. I've been thinking about this place. About what should happen to it. You have time to decide. I've decided. I'm leaving it to you. The words don't make sense at first. What? In my will. The cottage. It's worth about $180,000. Coastal property, you know. It's paid off. I want you to have it. $180,000. The exact amount I gave Alan. Patricia, I can't. You can and you will. Her voice is firm. You remind me of myself. Resilient. Kind. Someone who appreciates quiet beauty. She squeezes my hand. This place deserves someone who'll love it. That's you. I'm crying now. Why me? Because in the 3 months you've been here, you've brought this cottage back to life. The roses are blooming again. There's music coming from the windows. Someone's actually living here, not just existing. She smiles. That's worth more than money, dear. 6 months after I leave, Alan comes back. It's late afternoon. I'm reading on the porch when his car pulls up. He gets out slowly, looks different, thinner, older somehow. Can we talk? He asks. I nod to the chair beside me. He sits, and for a while we just look at the ocean together. I'm in therapy, he says finally. Have been for 4 months. Faith, too. Together and separate. I wait. I'm learning a lot about boundaries and me and toxic behaviors, how I was raised versus how I chose to act. He takes a breath. I owe you more than an apology. I owe you amends. He pulls an envelope from his pocket. $43,200. Every penny you paid in rent, plus the interest it would have earned. I take the envelope, heavy with a cashier's check. I can't give back the time, he continues, or undo the hurt, but I can do this, and I can promise that I'm working on becoming someone you'd be proud of again. I never stopped being proud of you, I say quietly. I just stopped recognizing you. I know. His voice cracks. I stopped recognizing myself. We sit in silence for a moment. Faith wants to apologize too, he says. She's struggling with what we did. We both are. She can visit. If she wants to, both of you can. I look at him. But as guests, in my home. I understand. He stands to leave, then turns back. The kids ask about you every day. Emma wrote you 10 letters. I have them in the car. Bring them. My voice is soft. And Alan, you can bring the kids next weekend, if you want. His face transforms. Really? Really, but just for the afternoon. We'll walk on the beach. Keep it simple. Thank you, he whispers. After he leaves, I open the envelope. Look at the check. $43,200. It's not about the money. It never was. But it's about acknowledgement. About Alan finally seeing what he took. That matters. Christmas Eve, 6 months later. Alan's car pulls into the driveway. Faith gets out first, then helps Emma and Ethan from their car seats. The twins run to me, screaming, "Grandma!" and I catch them both, breathing in their little kid's smell of shampoo and candy canes. "Your house is so pretty," Emma exclaims. "And there's an ocean," Ethan adds. Faith approaches slowly, holding a pie. "Pumpkin, I made it myself. Following your recipe, I take it. Thank you." "Mildred," she meets my eyes. "I'm sorry for everything. I was threatened by you, I think, by how capable you were, how the kids loved you. I made Alan's treatment of you worse, and I'm sorry." "I know," I say, "and I do know. I've had months to think about it, to understand." "Come in." We crowd into the small cottage. It's tight with 5 of us, but it works. I've made turkey, my recipe, the one Alan used to love. Mashed potatoes, green beans, pie for dessert. We eat at my tiny table, the twins squeezed in beside me. They chatter about school, about Christmas, about everything and nothing. Faith helps with dishes. Alan dries. The twins explore the beach with Robert, who's promised to show them tide pools. "We're selling the house," Alan says as he puts away a plate. I look at him, surprised. "It's too big, too much, too many memories of—" He trails off. "We're buying something smaller, more manageable." And Faith quit her job. She's doing freelance consulting now. Less hours, more time with the kids. "That's good," I say. "We're trying," Faith adds softly. "To be better. To do better." At 8 p.m., they prepare to leave. Emma hugs me tight. "Can we come back next week?" "If your parents say yes?" "Yes," Alan says immediately. I walk them to the car, watch them buckle in, wave as they drive away. Then I go back inside, where my cottage smells like turkey and pine from the small tree I decorated, where Robert's cookies are on the counter and Dorothy's coming by tomorrow for brunch. I make myself tea, sit by the window, watch the moon rise over the Pacific. I spent 67 years being who everyone needed me to be: a daughter, a wife, a mother, a teacher, a caretaker. Now I'm just Mildred. And that is enough. The ocean keeps moving. The stars come out one by one. And in my small cottage, in my own home, I finally understand what peace feels like. It feels like freedom. It feels like choosing myself. It feels like coming home.